But I began to notice something, that nothing is more handicapping than the environment of war and what it inflicts on children growing up in the midst of violence. They lose everything. War, I began to say, war is the ultimate handicapping condition. But I began to see what the ultimate healing condition was. And that was the interactions of my own children, of course, who were just so selfless, but of these friends with disabilities with whom I had felt so healed always in our community life together. Their unquestioning hospitality and openness to the refugee, their possibility to live with them and speak a common language. My refugee friends couldn't speak much English, although they learned so quickly in the Waldorf school that they attended. My friends in my household, many of them couldn't speak at all, and of course couldn't speak Vietnamese. And so the language that developed was a language of healing, where people met each other face to face, eye to eye, over the abyss that many would think would separate them in an impossible way. So now we come to the magic of community, as it's called. I realized this power of connection between people in need of special care actually being expert givers of special care. A community was meant to come about, a new community where people traditionally labeled disabled would actually have their abilities used in a special way, namely to help those, serve those, create community with adults with disabilities. And I met then in fear and trembling the responsibility to somehow give birth through all the midwives that it would require to give birth to this community, which would be a center somewhere, somehow, definitely by the healing forces of the ocean, where people in need of care would give care.
Well, the vision of the House of Peace is definitely Carrie's vision. It's a woman's vision. It's a mother's vision. And I've always said that no man would have the courage that Carrie had to found the House of Peace. She had no money, and her family was secure and happy and thriving in the Camp Hill community in Kimberton, Pennsylvania. There was nothing really to be gained from uprooting them and setting forth to begin the House of Peace. And I tried to talk her out of it. I said, don't do it.
And on Easter Sunday, I was walking back to the little place I was staying on Iona, and I saw in the wind this board swaying with the words Tai Chi that sounded so beautiful. Tai Chi, I wonder what that means. And I came back to this very minuscule, detailed map I had of Iona, and there was the word Tai Chi, which meant House of Peace. So on that Easter day, it became a reality and rose from the womb, the tomb, into reality. Another aspect in terms of our reflection over our commitment and life together with children of war relies entirely on the personal experiences John and I have had at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Each of us initially brought there as part of delegations with the Buddhist monks of Nipponzan Hoji. In my first trips to Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 2005, John and I brought an apology on behalf of the American people for the Holocaust of the nuclear genocide. And it was on that trip in 2005 that I went to the epicenter of that second atomic bomb at Nagasaki, August 9th, 1945. I went to Urakami Cathedral and met what's called the Hibaku Maria, a Madonna who had been loved and completely inserted into the religious life of the people of Nagasaki. She was reduced to ruins midst the cathedral ruins after that atomic bomb. But the head of this Madonna was somehow rescued by a Trappist monk who discovered her in the smoldering ruins. And she has had a long history of being marginalized because it's so painful to look at one with radiation burns, an image of the nuclear dawn that she witnessed. But now she resides in a beautifully constructed chapel adjacent to Urakami Cathedral. And I have begun to see what a healing power, as John says, this feminine principle, this Maria Sophia, is for the wars of this world and the wounded of this world. And we owe a tremendous amount in terms of the growing consciousness of the House of Peace to the Hibakusha, those who have suffered the nuclear holocaust of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, who help us in our work. Never again. Never war again.